Welcome to Faith in 5, a weekly video devotional designed to discuss practical spiritual concepts in 5 minutes or less. I'm your host, Mark Vandella. We are in the fourth week of our series called Dancing to Jazz, which is based on Donald Miller's book, Blue Like Jazz. That book has been really influential in my life spiritually as really living out faith in practical, applicable ways. And in his book, he tells a story about his Sunday school teacher. His Sunday school teacher puts a big poster board on a wall with a circle around it. And the goal of this circle is for all of the kids in Sunday school to pick kids that they know who don't know Jesus. And so if you're on the outside, they have Jesus in the middle of the circle, and if you're on the outside of the circle, then you would try, the goal for the year was to move somebody from the outside of the circle to the center of the circle. And so Donald Miller said he felt really convicted that he needed to do this. And yet it was kind of going to be hard, right? He didn't know what to do or how to do it, and didn't really like the way that people were teaching us to go help move somebody from the outside to the middle. It felt like kind of a sales pitch. And he says that he then showed up sometime later with these success stories. He said that he had interacted with a kid named William Wonka and another kid named Thad Thatcher. And so he told this big elaborate story about how Thad and William came to know Jesus, where they became Christians, and that there was this dramatic conversion story that included underground drug rings and satanic cults and levitation. And so you could tell Donald was a storyteller at an early age. And he said that they got to the end of the year and they looked back at their circle. He said the unfortunate truth is that the only two people who moved from the out of the circle to the middle of the circle were William and Thad, who were obviously made up stories that didn't happen. See, in our faith, oftentimes we treat people like projects. We are called, the Bible says on a number of occasions, to go out and help people know Jesus, to tell people about him, to make disciples of all the nations and baptize them in all of the information, teach them all of the things that Jesus has told us. But sometimes we treat people like projects. And that doesn't usually work. Because when people are projects, then we have to sell them. The way that the Bible actually suggests that we should go out and help people know God and meet God and know Jesus is more contagious than it is convincing them. See, Donald Miller also says that he has a friend. What he learned from this Sunday school experience, he said, as I grew up, I met this friend of mine named Nadine. He said, the thing that I loved about Nadine was that I never felt like she was selling anything. See, she would always talk about God as if she knew him, like knew him personally. And if she had talked to him on the phone that day, and Donald admits that was really intriguing, because that hasn't been his experience. And he said she was never ashamed, which is a thing that some Christians he had encountered felt. He said they felt like they had to sell God. They had to kind of drop sugar all over him and sugarcoat God so that you would maybe want to know him too. But he said Nadine wasn't like that. He said oftentimes Christians would try to sell God like he was a soap or a vacuum or something like that. And unfortunately, that wasn't something that he wanted. It was like knocking on a door and then trying to convince somebody through tricks and all these sorts of deals. But Nadine didn't behave that way. He said that Nadine really wanted you to have a direct access line, to be able to pick up the phone and talk to God like she did. The Bible says very similarly in John 13, 34 through 35. Jesus says, "A new command I give you. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. And by this, everyone will know you are my disciples." God is not asking us to go door to door to try to sell them on a product. He's saying, go, be, and live, and love. First and foremost, love others And that will be contagious. Like Donald's talking about his friend Nadine, just the way that she showed up in his life and loved him and acted like she knew God personally because she did. He said, that was so attractive to me that I started paying attention and tried to live my life that way. We should be more contagious with our love rather than trying to convince somebody of it and then behaving differently. This week in your faith, consider the places that you could be contagious, the ways that you live out your life that somebody else could benefit from, that they watch and observe, and then you can enter into conversations to explain to them what you had a conversation with God about. This week, live out your faith in a way that's contagious, that's so attractive that people gather around to hear what you have to say.